My biggest tip for anybody who's traveling, it doesn't matter if you travel once a year or 5 times, but if you're flying, get a good set of noise cancelling headphones. It makes your flight 1,000 times more enjoyable.
Yeah. And the second step is, if you have the chance, it belongs on which class you book, right? So first class, second class, business class, economy class. Try to have the place in the middle one, that you have more space for your legs. Podcast priority, me and you. I tried to translate it a little bit in English. Was it right?
Yeah.
Good. Test check. So second episode with Ryan Wheeler from Chemnitz, and the guy who travel all over the world with his clients and with his family and so on, finding out the best culture things, open the community on the or with the local ones, and show you where is the best food, also in UK. So there's no secret behind, there's only doing. Thanks to being here again.
Very welcome. Absolutely my pleasure.
So if you hear some sounds behind us, we are sitting here in a co-working space, especially in a little space with some furnitures and so on. I bet we also have the air conditioner on. Otherwise, we will melting here. We hope it's okay. And also in traveling, when you fly, you have some air conditioners around you, so you also don't say, okay, do that.
Yeah. My biggest tip for anybody who is traveling, it doesn't matter if you travel once a year or 5 times, but if you're flying, get a good set of noise cancelling headphones. It makes your flight 1,000 times more enjoyable.
Yeah. And the second step is, if you have the chance, it belongs on which class you book, right? So first class, second class, business class, economy class. Try to have the place in the middle one, that you have more space for your legs, especially where the emergency doors are. There is one line or one series with 6 places, you have more freedom for the legs.
Yeah,
so
that's
especially right. You know it when you have maybe a bigger guy in front of you and he jumped out on the seat and sitting down again, and you have your legs under the seat in front of you, or the knees behind the chair, and then you get this little punch, and maybe you have a problem with your knees after that. You started with a good feeling, I want to go to vacation, and then you have a broken knee.
Yeah. The extra space is worth it, especially if you're traveling for a long time. We try to travel to Australia every year, and that's 21 or 2 hours of flying time. And it really is worth the extra money to get bigger seats, better food, and that type of thing.
Yeah. I was really surprised on the last traveling to Riga that is allowed that you have your own food with you. In some, so I noticed with these plastic packages and so on, but I also it was some problem with a parking place. Maybe I share it later. That was after the big flight. We had the situation there. They opened the doors or the gates, and there was also some problem before when I traveled from Riga back to Germany. Some problem with the luggage and so on. Different company or different flying companies and so on. It's like, what is the hell? So. And it's not allowed to over package here in our company. And so, why? I only know this from the army. When you have a damage in your shoulder, that you're only allowed to have 3 kilograms in the luggage. That's okay, but that is your profession here. Okay. Long story short, I bought me a cup of coffee, a bigger one. I was like, okay, I have time. It was very hot, and I and I was not, or I don't think, or I didn't thought that, or I didn't thought that I was allowed to
take
it in with me in the airplane, but nobody cares. So they was really surprised. So
yeah, some of the low-cost airlines now have decided that it's better to allow people to take their own food. But yeah, I can't recommend the low-cost airline Scoot. They're an offshoot of Singapore Airlines. They also have that same option. You can take your own food. And I would absolutely recommend it if you ever fly with Scoot. Take your own food, because the food they serve is so bad. It's nearly uneatable. Yeah.
Okay, and that's the reason behind it. Makes sense. So then, yeah, but in general, I don't eat food in the airplane.
Really?
Normally, yeah.
Okay.
My last trip, or the longer trip, it was with the army, where it was army, and then we visit. Army is no visiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was some practice stuff in Canada, so that was a bit. That was over 8 hours, but yeah, there we have the army stewardess and so on. That was more the nice guys, right? And there was the food that was okay, but it was army food.
Yeah.
So that is not brilliant, but you have something in your power.
Yeah.
So, and I think so. Maybe you also, when you have problems with some food, maybe you're also not so happy to fly with the bird, and you have some bad feelings. Also, maybe it's also a kind of preparing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat the right things before, maybe not 5 minutes before.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard, I guess, when you're traveling to have all of those dietary requirements met. Like, I know that my stomach doesn't do very well with pasta and things like that, but when you're on the road, it's one of the easiest things to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'm not very good at looking after myself when I'm traveling. It's something that I can improve, definitely. But eating the right food is really helpful, especially if you have to sit for 14 hours on a plane. What's your longest flight?
It was, I think so, on this Canada thing,
Yeah.
8-9 hours. It was round about this. I don't maybe when I would travel a little bit longer, maybe I would take a break in between some days. That is not too long time on one direction. I don't know. We will see. Maybe you just must invite me in the next year to Australia, then I can give you the answer.
Yeah, well, we should try the longest flight in the world, which is from England to Sydney, from Heathrow, I think, to Sydney. I think the flying time is 20 hours straight.
Wow.
Yeah.
With stop?
No.
No stop.
No stop.
So it's with the bigger Boeing, Airbus.
I think it's with the biggest one.
With the extra tanks.
But that's amazing. That's
20 hours.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It can't be good for the body.
It belongs what you are allowed to do in the airplane. Yeah.
I don't think they have a gym.
But they have a floor. You can run, and the next is some. Yeah, maybe we must register it.
Register, yeah.
Yeah, that we have our new brand, yeah, a new sports brand. So we are the first. We share it in the whole wide world. Some fitness for the airplane.
Yeah. Aeroplane fitness. What do we call it? Sky high fitness or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe you can also do something for your shoulders when you have exactly such a heavy guy in front of you. You can shake it and then you do something. Then maybe it's not so bad for the knees in this case. So you see, we have some fun. And we spoke about what happened in the last years, Ryan, his company, his family, and so on. There is a little bit much more. So now take a look in the future. What will happen?
In the future? Yeah, well, our company is at an interesting part of its life, I think. We are at the point of scaling, and I think it's a really fun time to really look inside and see what's possible and how we can achieve that. I think scaling a business is one of the biggest challenges that small businesses have. And yeah, I would like some advice perhaps from you at some stage there, Sebastian, on scaling. And yeah, I have a couple of ideas. I'm looking into the licensing model at this stage. So what we do is help entrepreneurs to improve their English, but with a very big focus on business. And we are looking at licensing our strategy and method to other English teachers who have a business background. Perhaps they already have their own business and have an entrepreneurial mind. And we would like to help them to use our method to increase their ability to sell their time at a much higher rate. And we see that with the development of AI, the standard English teacher will no longer exist. I am already using AI to improve my German. I don't really need a German teacher anymore. It's become so good now and will only improve more in the coming years that these standard teachers, unfortunately, will not be necessary. You will be able to have conversations with an AI which can also improve your English for you too. They will be able to listen and say, okay, I can see you're making this mistake. Next time, use this. And that's basically what a normal English teacher does. We are coaches, so we coach people how to learn a language. We don't sit there and teach them English. But yeah, I think those regular teachers will not exist for so much longer.
Only in school.
I think in school that they will still be there, because there's I'm talking like one-on-one, the individuals who want help with their English. But yeah, in schools it will be a different situation, because there's also the requirement to look after the kids or manage a group of kids, and AI.
It's not so easy.
No.
So I think so. Especially in Germany, it seems that nothing changes. So, it was good for the last 40 years. Why we should change something? So I see it with Anya, my wife. What are the problems? What are the challenges at the moment? And maybe it's a good solution to come to you for all the teachers in Germany, especially who want to create something for their own, for their audience, for their classes and so on. Yeah, write to Ryan, or feel invited to write Ryan a message. And I think so, yes. Maybe at the beginning, the German teacher in the school get a little bit more money. Maybe when you have this official government contract, but in the middle and long term run, you have a cover on it.
Exactly.
And here you can really do it what you want. Why you started as a teacher for language, it's not about this, that there's more behind in the studying and so on and so on. Find it out and then write to Ryan. Maybe he has a good business case for you where you can directly start it.
Yeah, that's right. I had this conversation with a client of mine yesterday, actually, about the ceiling. So as an employee, there is always the ceiling there. You can only earn a certain amount. And once you get to the top of your expertise and you're the best in the business, that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give you more. Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, there is no ceiling. You can earn as much as you want to.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, and that's a development. And that is also what we learned, you, also me, the patience, in the long-term run. And sometimes we don't see the result after 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. but the most people cut it too early.
Mm.
And there are also some cartoons and pictures on it where you have a miner who take a look on the earth and so on and so on. And he stopped 5 centimeters before the gold or the diamonds and so on. That seems that helps me to go further when maybe the sea is a little bit stormy outside, or I have calculated with this contract or this new client, and yes, they will come, but later, and so on and so on. That is the adventure, and that is not nice, of course. So we have all the planning, and I also said sometimes 80% of entrepreneurship is really bullshit.
Yeah.
But the 20% where you can create this, wow. My mentor Uwe said it, 98% of entrepreneurship is bullshit, but the 2%. So everybody has his own truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how you go in the long-term run, how you what helps yourself to go further.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about mindset too, right? Looking at, okay, if I make a mistake or it doesn't work at the moment, or what happens, to look at that as a learning, because it is just a big game. Money it's not real. It's just a game. We're playing this big game of life here, and as an entrepreneur, you're right in it. And yeah, if you look at it like that and just take every setback as an opportunity to learn, you're winning already.
That are the best last words for the second episode. So feel invited to make a click and following on these channels, and be prepared for the next one. Then we change the language. So then we will see how the KI and chat and GPT works, and what have it done with Ryan. So your last English words. Yes.
I look forward to it. Yeah, it should be fun.
Ja.
Sure.
Das wird großartig. Bis später.